This story is about a ship, a sailing ship called Poseidon, and it's very big enough to have many stories, and nowadays a lot of people get on this ship. Everyone was very happy because today is the night of December 31st, that is, a new year will begin tomorrow. Here someone is partying on this ship, someone is playing cards, someone is dancing, and then we see the control room of the ship, where the captain doubts that something is wrong. He says that there is definitely something wrong, and then he sees the very big, high wave, from the front, heading toward his boat. Seeing this, all the captains are very scared, and quickly try to turn the ship around. They manage to make it turn, but the wave was so big that a while ago the moon could be seen behind it. But he completely hid behind that wave, which meant that the wave was much bigger than his ship. Then they announce that there is going to be a very big problem on the ship. There is going to be an accident, so all the passengers and officers are absolutely vigilant. As soon as it is announced, there is chaos, then the high wave hits your boat. The pressure is so high that Poseidon, which is such a big ship, is completely upside down in the sea. That means the top has sunk. That is, the ground was made and the ground was raised. As soon as the ship turns, it's obvious that things are falling and breaking. Many people drown in the sea. Apart from that, there is also a very big explosion in the engine room. Because of this, all the captains who ruled the ship also die. Now in the ship's lounge, where most of the people were, an officer comes to tell them that we have good and bad news. The bad news is that a very large tsunami wave hit our ship. Due to this, she completely turned around, so no one can get out of here. And the good news is that our officers, a few minutes the shortest way from here. Then he begins to explain the way with signs. Robert tells him, I'll give you double what you earn in a month. Take us there. To this, the man agrees. That is, now he will go with Robert. After that, Robert says to Dallin, listen to me. If you have a plan, we have a guide who will tell us about each place. So if we all go together, then our lives can be saved. If we go apart, we run the risk of dying, which Dallin finally agrees to. After which they all gather to go to the bottom of the ship. We know the bottom of the ship is up. That's why they went that way, and that way they went from the road where there are big fans, which direct the boat and move it forward. But when the people came out of the hole, all the doors were closed so that no water got in, although there was already a lot of water there. The windows and doors were so strong that no more water could get in. They were constantly moving forward, so somehow they were able to get to the bottom of the ship and get out of there in order to save their lives. But after going a little further, all your path closes, because, in front of them, the corpses of many people are large, after which they open the elevator door. The elevator is very high from here. Then with a very large iron bar they go to the front door so they can open this door and get out of here. But even after a lot of effort, the door does not open. But even then the elevator door to the upper floor opens. Then people help each other and step aside and come in the direction of the elevator. But still, two people were behind, an old man and a boy in a guard ship. And while these people were going up there, the path of the iron bar below them slips and falls, after which they hang out next to the elevator path. They can't even touch it because there was a deep ditch, and if they fall, the other side. So the robot tells his daughter, "Now come son," to go to the other side. But then a drunk, who met him at the disco, arrives. He says that I will come first. And then when he starts moving forward, it happens in the middle. Then a very large part of the engine falls on him, because of which the drunkard and the railing also break and fall with him. Now, with this part of the engine, a lot of oil also falls into the water. The flares were already falling there, that's why there is fire in the water. Now that the drunk was dead, there were 8 left, but only 5 people went to the other side where they had to go, while Robert, his daughter, and Dylan were still stuck there. There was fire in the water. There was no way for them to get through it, because the railing had also been broken when the locomotive fell. Now Dylan ties a hose to a rope and goes into the water, because he knows there's water down there where the fire can't even touch it. That's why he descends and reaches the other side. There he ties the other end of the rope to the tube, from which Robert and his daughter also emerge, from where 8 of them are saved, and they start to climb again. Now Dylan knew everything, because there was a time when he worked in the Navy. He had left the Navy, but he still had a lot of information about the ship. Now the scene in the corridor is shown, where all the people were waiting for help. They all look very nervous, as the solid glass was also breaking due to the pressure of the water. And then, when the glass breaks, a lot of water enters with pressure, in which everyone drowns and everyone dies. They couldn't do anything but scream at the last moment. These 8 people also hear their cries and understand that all the poor are dead. But at that moment, where those people were, the water also begins to flow there, but now there is no way out of here. Then they open a small vent that used to be a path, and they say that this is the only way out. But because this place was closed, only one person could go there at a time. That is why these people are starting to move forward one by one. Robert is upstairs and Dylan is downstairs. And as the people moved forward, they noticed that the water was starting to come out from below, due to which now water also begins to enter this ventilation. Then when the people reach the end of the vent, they see that there is a net there, which Robert struggles to open, but he can't open it because he had a nut on it, and his hand wouldn't come out of it either. His neck and says that these people could open the walnut with him. Then the boy takes the cross and slowly begins to open the walnut, since his hands were short and he was reaching for the walnut. But here the water was rising, and because Dylan was at the bottom and was about to drown, then luckily the net opens, through which they all quickly come out one by one. In this way, Dylan also misses his life and only has to climb 2 floors, after which all their lives will be saved. But when these people move forward, they get trapped in a reservoir. They can't go down because the water comes from there. They couldn't move forward because there was no way out of here except for a small path that was heavily blocked. That's why Dylan explains to them that the place where we are is like a tank, where it fills up with water to keep the ship in balance, and when it's completely filled with water, this little path opens up, after which all the water goes to the other boat tank. And now, if we have to get out of here, then we have to fill this tank so that when it's full, the water goes into the other tank after we open the door. We can survive after that. Robert's daughter gets very nervous and says that if the door doesn't open even after filling the water, what if we cut our breath in the middle? To which Dylan responds with an anger and anxiety he doesn't know. But other than that, we have no other way. So here it is. Robert and Dylan decide they're going to fill this tank with water, after which they slowly begin to fill it with water. Now, as soon as the tank is full of water, the door still doesn't open, so all these people are very disappointed. But the next moment, this door suddenly opens, and all these people come to the other tank with the pressure of the water. Now these people had escaped from this reservoir, but the problem still didn't subside, because in which he sees that the control room is right below these fans, where they can be turned off. The control room is 150 feet from here, and going there means death. But despite that, Robert was ready to go. Seeing this, the daughter's friend says, "You can't go, let me go, because I can go and I can also turn off those fans." Immediately after that, he was ready to turn off the fans. But because of his departure, Robert's daughter cries. She forbids him to go there. Then her friend says, "We have to go, someone will have to go." And now, seeing his daughter crying, Robert himself plunges into the water and begins to go to the control room. Then we see that Dylan is missing because this little boy drowned in the water. What Dylan and his mother were looking for. The boy is found very quickly, which Dylan also saves. After which, they return to the same place where the other people were. But the problem was that here, too, the water was rising, and if they didn't turn off the fans or get out of here, they will also drown and die. There, Robert reaches the control room and tries to turn off the fans. But he sees that the button used to close the fans is broken. And at the same time, Robert's breath hitches. That's why he suffers. He was about to die. Then he sees the button from which the fans are reversed. That is, the direction of the fans can be changed. And a few seconds before he dies, he presses the button and dies, which means that Robert gave his life to save everyone. Dylan sees that the fans still don't shut off, so he fearfully says, "Why is he still spinning? Why doesn't it close?" And then Robert's daughter's friend sees that the things that came to us earlier, that is, the atmospheric pressure was on our side, now it is the other way around. That's why he tells Dylan that Robert reversed the fans, so now we can throw things out and turn off the engine, we can stop the fans. After which he gives a very large cylinder to Dylan. Dylan throws such a cylinder towards the fans, so there is a very big explosion. Because of this, the engine stalls and eventually the fans break. After which they go out, and one by one this ship sinks in the waters of Poseidon, and he quickly gets on a small boat that was coming from Poseidon. Because there are a lot of such ships on the ships, as they all climb on it, Poseidon begins to fall towards them. That's why everyone